Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Tonight. We're live from our studios here at Northridge in Accra. The bulletin is also live on DSTV channel 277, live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana, and on Twitter at Metro TV GH. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Here are stories making headlines today. Excavator seized at various illegal mining sites in the Amansia South District of the Ashanti region as Lands Minister slams Minerals Commission and agencies involved in the fight against galamsey. West NDC Parliamentary Caucus alleges discrimination in the selection process of regional directors of the Ghana Health Service. Residents of Wejakbawe in the Greater Accra region divided over operations of Empire Cement Factory as traditional rulers urge the EPA to grant the needed permit for the cement factory to start operation. Coming up in business, an economist doubts government's ability to secure a deal with the International Monetary Fund before the 2023 budget. Later, we'll take you to Europe, where Finland closes its border to Russia tourists from Friday, September 30th, following Russia calling up 300,000 military reserves. Details are coming up shortly. Stay with us. Hello again. The minority in Parliament has noted with serious concern the inability of the Akufo-Addo-led government to account for over $100 million accruing from Ghana's petroleum lifting in the first quarter of 2022. A statement signed by ranking member on Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee, John Jinapo, says the decision by the current MPP government to transfer revenues accruing from more than 900,000 barrels of oil per day lifting in the Jubilee and 10 fields to a company established in a safe haven which is outside Ghana without parliamentary approval amounts to a gross violation of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 2011, Act 815, and Public Financial Management Act 92. Now, the minority says it is very much alarmed that, contrary to requirements of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, revenues accruing from the nation's oil fields are not being paid into the Petroleum Holding Fund. As if this is not enough, the report further reveals that capital gains tax was not assessed and collected by the Ghana Revenue Authority in the sale of the 7% interest by Anna Darkon in the Jubilee and 10 fields in 2021. So John Jinapo is a ranking member on Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee, and he joins me this evening for a conversation on the back of this. Mr. Jinapo, good evening and welcome. Exactly how has government failed to account for this revenue?
Thank you very much. Like we rightly put it, the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, the Public Financial Management Act is explicit, it's clear that all funds, and I mean all funds, accruing from our oil fields, be it sale of crude oil, royalties, taxes, and surface rentals, should be lodged in the Petroleum Holding Fund on the 15th day of the preceding month. And government, representing the people of Ghana, exercised its right and purchased or procured 7% additional shares in the Jubilee and 10 fields. And so those resources or shares belongs to the state and the people of Ghana. Therefore, any attempt to establish an offshore company and transfer same revenues to that offshore company is illegal, is unconstitutional, and an affront to the PRMA. Bear in mind, GNPC appeared before our committee, and when we inquired of this amorphous company known as Jubilee Oil Holdings Limited, they told us that that was just a temporary company as a conduit for the 7% to be transferred to GNPC. So why are they now receiving revenues? That is most unfortunate. We would not accept that, and we use every legitimate means in Parliament to ensure that this wrong is corrected.
Mr. Jinapo, you are an MP. What is the role of Parliament in ensuring the right thing is done, and how has it been pursued by Parliament?
This was done on the blind side of Parliament. This company was established without parliamentary approval. We had to use our internal and external sources to get information on that. And like I told you, when they appeared before Parliament, we queried them and they said they were going to rectify it, only for them to start transferring revenues. Parliament is on recess. And so we are demanding that immediately those funds should be reversed and lodged into the Petroleum Holding Fund. Failure to do so, anytime Parliament resumes, we shall use all the parliamentary processes to hold the minister before Parliament and hold him liable and accountable for this infraction.
Okay. John Jinapo, thank you very much for speaking to us tonight. Right, this is Newsnight here on Metro Television. We're also live on DSTV channel 277. Now, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister has seized 12 excavators at illegal mining sites in the Amansia South District of the Ashanti region. Samuel Abu-Jinapo, who led a security team to undertake the operation, slammed the Minerals Commission, chiefs, MMDAs, and opinion leaders for failing in the fight against illegal mining.
A swoop conducted by soldiers in charge of clamping down on illegal miners on Monday confiscated some 12 excavators belonging to illegal miners in some part of the Amansia South District. Today, a team led by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapo, visited some of the sites to get a first-hand appreciation of the devastation that has been caused here. Addressing a section of the press after the tour, the minister said government will not relent in its effort in clamping down on illegal mining across the country.
An operation like this in the heart of the forest and in the faraway areas of our country can go on without notice by the police, the chiefs, the local political leadership, assembly people, the district chief executive, for example, and I should dare say even the Inspectorate Division of the Minerals Commission here. And these are questions that I, as minister, am going to be seeking answers for. How is it the case that such an operation can be mounted and such level of devastation can happen when there is a district outfit of the Minerals Commission who should have an inspectorate division, when there's a police command here, when there's a district chief executive. Fortunately, from here I'm heading to Kumasi to meet district chief executives from the mining communities of our country. And so the point we keep making about the fight against illegal mining being a collective one, I think this is a classic evidence of that call, that it will require the concerted effort of all of us. It cannot be the fight for government alone or for ministers alone. It has to be the fight for all of us, citizens and all the actors in the body politic of Ghana. And this is what we have on our hands. But what I can say and the assurance I can give, and yesterday the president himself chaired a meeting on this matter, and extensive discussion took place about it, that we will continue relentlessly with integrity to do our best to come to grips with this matter of illegal mining operations in our country. The Ghanaian people should be rest assured, but whatever we have to do to make sure that we get to a satisfactory situation in this country in respect of this canker, we will do so.
Brigadier General Joseph Afo, who led the swoop, urged government to keep supporting them in the activities on clamping down on illegal miners.
Some of the comments even from the galamseyers that we even have on tape, they tell us that, oh, we've come within the next 4 days, we'll leave, they are coming back. I mean, it is on tape, we've had it on tape. And to the extent that, this operation, as you are aware, when you called me from New York with your deputy, when we shifted it, thinking that the Monday they were going to do it, we had the secrecy of it. 7:30 that Monday, one of the galamseyers said, oh, we got the information 7 p.m. just the night before we did the operation. So their communication network is so strong. You don't imagine how it goes. But all the same, this war will be this war against the environment will be won. There's no two ways about it. We have to sustain it, and that is non-negotiable. So currently, like you can see, it is really very, very devastated. And then, like you said in your office when we met, we are actually bent on continuing. And then, of course, with the support that you've been giving to us.
Some equipment belonging to illegal miners were destroyed during the tour. But it looks like illegal mining is in full swing in parts of the country, even though government has vowed to bring the activities to a halt. Reporting from the Amansie South District, I am Henry Kwesi Bedu for Metro News.
Right, so our man Henry Kwesi Bedu has been on the tour with the lands minister and joins me via phone for an update. Henry, good evening. Welcome to Newsnight. Can you walk us through today's activities? Where exactly did the minister go and what has he been doing?
Ken, the minister, together with his two deputies, that is the deputy minister in charge of lands and forestry, Benito Usubio, the deputy minister in charge of mining, who is also the MP for Takwa and Swahim, was part of the team. Also, the deputy minister for information was also part of the team that embarked on the tour. The tour started in the Amansie South District, but they visited one. I can't tell you the number of that is acreage that were devastated by the activities of these illegal miners. It looked like that is a village on its own. This is a mining. It looks like that is an illegal mining site. It is a full village on its own or a town on its own. This illegal miners have gone to the extent of even rearing fowl and other. They have big bowls that they cook in there and all of that. So, they went there. But what happened was that on Monday, the team led by the Brigadier General we spoke to there in the story undertook the swoop. They arrested a few persons, got this, that is the excavators. Some of them, a few of them were destroyed. But the minister had wanted to visit these communities to pick up the first-hand appreciation of what is actually happening on the ground. And I'm sure I sent in a few visuals of when you look at the bird-eye view visuals or videos of the devastation that these illegal miners have caused in parts of the Ashanti region. Right. And Ken, when we were moving to the communities, we went to communities like Manso Edubia, Manso Nkwanta, a community called Datano. That is where the swoop was undertaken by the soldiers. And when you are moving in a vehicle on the road, on the shoulders of the road or on both sides of the road, you see the activities of these illegal miners at first hand. Ken, it looks like we are in Accra and we talk about illegal mining and people are really not having the appreciation of what is happening in this hinterlands. But today, Ken, I saw for myself from the visuals and the things that we've seen, people undertaking this illegal mining, doing it in river bodies, destroying forests. And where we went to, we had to, at a point in time, get out for a vehicle, walk for close to like 20 minutes before we go to the site. And these vehicles couldn't, go to these communities. And the minister was really not happy. According to him, he thinks that such activities by these illegal miners cannot happen when the chiefs in the community don't have any wind of it or are not in the known. You can't do illegal mining in my community and expect that the district chief executive and the municipal assembly or the workers at the municipal assembly are not in the known or they don't know what is happening in the community. That was the minister's concern. And he thinks that these people are letting their guard down. He thinks that they've relaxed, even though the president is still committed on fighting illegal mining. But the people in the hinterlands where illegal mining activities are pervasive are just sitting aloof for people involved in this illegal mining activities to undertake their, work, which is destroying vast lands and river bodies. From the Amansie South District, the minister traveled to Kumasi, where there was a meeting at one of the hotels in Kumasi with the district and municipal chief executives in whose communities illegal mining is very pervasive. He had a meeting with them and he told them that in his opening remarks, he said that illegal mining, the fight should be something that it brings everyone on board, all the stakeholders. If I talk about the stakeholders, that is the Mining Commission, the Minerals Commission, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the governments of the Information Ministry, the MMDAs, the people in the community. They should all put their shoulders to the wheel and ensure that the fight is won. He also said that there was a meeting between himself, the president, and hopefully next week the president will be giving us an address on going forward what they are going to do to ensure that they win this fight against illegal mining. So Ken, that was his purpose there in part of the Ashanti region. He toured a few of the communities in the Amansia South district and also the Inchuma Mpunya district, where this illegal mining activities is causing a lot of havoc in the area.
Okay, Henry, let me leave you to rest because I can feel you're very tired. But thank you very much for that update. Meanwhile, pressure group Occupy Ghana is placing the blame on the inability to win the fight against illegal mining on government's sheer inability, total unpreparedness, and blatant unwillingness to enforce the law. Occupy Ghana, in an open letter to President Akufo-Addo, said it is dumbstruck at the president's absolute impotence in the face of the brazen destruction of lands and wanton poisoning of water bodies. The group says government has no excuse to fail in the fight against the menace. Now, the pressure group vowed to pressure the president to fulfill his promise to stop Galamsey. They have also vowed to drag the government to court if it fails in the fight. Right, away from that, the NDC Upper West Regional Caucus in Parliament is raising red flags over the non-inclusion of indigents from the region in the Ghana Health Service's recent recruitment of doctors to serve as regional health directors. The caucus alleges the outcome of the appointment process is discriminatory and inconsistent with the constitutional provision which mandates the state to take active steps to promote regional balance in recruitment to public offices.
The Ghana Health Service in November 2021 commenced an internal recruitment process to fill vacant district director positions across the country. The process involved an initial shortlisting of candidates, a written exam, and a face-to-face assessment interview. The exercise saw 8 staff and indigents of the Upper West region shortlisted after passing overwhelmingly during the process. All 8 applicants were, however, dropped during the interview session, raising questions over the transparency of the process. Chairman of the NDC Upper West Regional Caucus in Parliament, Dr. Sebastian Sandani, in a press conference on Thursday, impugned ill motives in the selection process.
We consider the recruitment process as unjust, unfair, discriminatory, unreasonable, and abuse of the rights of the applicants. Some matters of concern worthy of note are: 1. That a person who emerged the best in the written exam is considered not to have the requisite knowledge in management of a district health directorate in an interview, results of which were not made public. That all applicants, some of which are currently acting as district directors in the region, passed the written exam, but yet collectively failed the face-to-face interview.
The caucus is also demanding a review of the appointment process. The caucus also served notice it will petition Parliament to trigger a probe into recruitment of doctors to serve as district health directors across the country.
We don't believe that the reasons that Ghana Health Service gave, that the 8 applicants from Upper West region who were not appointed as district directors, that the reason was due to the fact that they didn't have adequate knowledge and understanding of the position of district directors of health services. We believe that somehow it could just be that the people of the Upper West region did not have somebody strong politically to push for them. That is the reason we think. And we think that this is unfair. It cannot continue because today is the turn of Upper West. Nobody was appointed as district director of health. Tomorrow, it could be Volta region.
Now, in other related development, a clinical epidemiologist, Professor Fred Binka, has kicked against the appointment of non-health professionals as ministers of health. According to him, this is impacting negatively on healthcare delivery. He suggested Ghana's healthcare system will improve significantly if the practice is stopped.
The annual meeting was held under the theme Strengthening NCDS Services Within Primary Health Care Towards a Resilient Pandemic Preparedness and Response. Speaking on the sidelines of the meeting, clinical epidemiologist and Foundation Vice Chancellor of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor Fred Newton Binka, condemned the use of non-health professionals in the management of the health sector, arguing professionals are constantly overlooked by the appointing authority.
I've not seen him appoint a doctor as the Minister for Justice. Will the lawyers agree? No. What about the Ministry for Finance? You always find an economist or somebody. Why do they think they can run the Ministry of Health? Okay? And now we have our Minister for Health is an accountant or a financial person. Then the deputy, one of them is a cosmetologist. That's one of the deputies, Madame Mensa or whatever his name is. And then the second one is a retired customs officer.
He accused government of appointing political figures with no knowledge about the health sector to occupy that position. He believes until the current practice is halted, nothing significant can be achieved in the health sector.
The politicians running the Ministry of Health, but we are in a state of transition. And in states of transition, when you want reorganization, not just any politician should be the head of the Ministry of Health. You have to bring people who are technically knowledge to be able to guide how this is done. So how do we deliver these concepts? How do we convince them that there's a need to look at a reorganization of the health system, which we started in 1977.
Professor Fred Newton Binka is among health professionals working to position Ghana's primary health care system to improve health service delivery in the country.
Right, so I've been joined by the national chairman of the Coalition of Non-Governmental Organizations in Health, Bright Emisanyako, for more on this. Bright, good evening. Welcome to Newsnight. Now, Professor Binka believes the appointment of non-professionals to lead the health sector is affecting the development of the sector. Is that really the case?
Good evening, and then good evening once again to your viewers and then listeners. I have a different view with Professor Binka, even though he might have his own opinion as well. I think it is always right to consult before the professionals in that field before you do appointments. All right, but as you also agree with me, the health sector, the universality of the health sector itself becomes so dynamic to know who to appoint to lead a managerial role. So health in itself has so many branches, like we'll go to any other field or study. And then you agree with me that anything we do, even in this world, in terms of production or whatever, is aligned to health. If you want to talk about road sector, agri sector, even education, and then the other sectors, you cannot speak to those sectors without talking about health. So health in general is not just about somebody is sick, and then what we are speaking to now is about management and then administration. So it is not if we are talking about a sector lead, then it is not like the facility lead. And that is where I may tend to disagree. If it is somebody who is leading at the facility level, say clinician at the facility, then I agree we need a specialist in that area to lead and then direct affairs as to how we can prevent, we can control, and then we can treat. But here we are talking about management of systems. And then when it comes to systems management, we should look at an administrator or a management personnel, an economist, or people in that category of management, the category of management staff,
Right.
with some technical knowledge in health, I agree, but not entirely. For instance, a doctor as a professional doctor, a medical doctor, taking that managerial position in a sector, that I entirely disagree, because we are not going to treat people there, but we are going to manage systems in that area.
Right. Mr. Grateful you could join us tonight. Now, need to make an urgent call, but you realize you don't have credit, or your very important conversation was cut short because you ran out of airtime. Well, there is no need for all that stress, because all you have to do on MTN is to dial *506# and you get to borrow credit on MTN Extra Time. The best part is you can also borrow data by dialing the same number, that is *506#. And you can bundle data whenever you run out to continue browsing as always. Your conversations don't need to end. Borrow extra time now and enjoy the things you love on your favorite network, MTN. Here's what's coming up after the break. You're welcome back. The Ghana Civil Society Cocoa platform is asking government to give cocoa farmers a minimum of 15 to 20% increment in the farm gate prices for the new season. Now, the platform says the estimation took into consideration challenges posed by the unstable Ghanaian cedi, the threat by mining, and most importantly, the need for farmers to be paid adequate and prices for their efforts.
The platform, in a statement, said based on the working assumption of the Producer Price Review Committee of Cocoa Board, which aims at ensuring that farm gate price is pegged at a minimum of 70% of the net free on board price of cocoa beans, Ghanaian farmers should be receiving a minimum of 838 cedis per bag of 62.5 kilogram of cocoa beans. This, according to members of the platform, was arrived at using the lowest projected values available, including an LID of $400 per ton as agreed. The current International Cocoa Organization World Cocoa Market Price, which averages Europe, New York, and London, stands at $2,248 per ton of cocoa beans. The platform also acknowledged that Ghana is forced to sell cocoa on the terminal market at a discounted price, though there has been a drastic drop in the origin differential country premium from over $400 to a current $62. The platform is of the view the net cocoa selling price should not less than $2,103. Based on the 2020-2021 parameters for calculating the net free on board for cocoa beans, the platform expects the net free on board for 2022-2023 cocoa season to be not less than 80% of the prevailing world cocoa market price and should give the Ghanaian farmer 13,413 cedis per ton of cocoa beans. The platform says it hopes that the new prices on October will be satisfactory.
Right, so new prices of cocoa for the 2022-2023 season are expected to be announced in Suhum on Saturday. But what are the expectations of cocoa farmers? Let's speak to Obed Osu, Ade of the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform. Obed, grateful for your time this evening. So how realistic are the demands of 15 to 20% increase in the prices of cocoa?
Thank you very much, my brother. The demands you are making are very, very realistic. Based on the exchange rate and how the city has depreciated and especially since cocoa as an international commodity is sold in hard currency on the international market. We believe that the farmer should be able to get not less than the 50 to 20% increment that we are asking for. We concede that the international market price of cocoa has dropped considerably. We also concede that the origin differential, or what we call the country premium, has also dropped from $400 to around $55. But when you look at how much the city has depreciated, we believe strongly and based on the calculations that the cocoa farmer should not be receiving less than 838 Ghana cedis per bag of cocoa this season.
Right. You've already said that you agree that the global price of cocoa has dropped and a number of things have also dropped. So what could really be the reason behind the expectation of between 15 to 20%?
My brother, like I said, it's purely based on the performance of the city. In 2020, when the cocoa price was increased about 28%, from 515 to 660, then the exchange rate, the dollar to cedi was around 5.5 cedi. So when you have $1, you were getting 5.5 cedi. Fast forward 2 years now, the dollar on the black market is around 10.5. At the Bank of Ghana exchange rate, interbank exchange rate is around 9.3. We even did this projection using a very modest rate of 8.5, and we still came to that figure of 838. Be as it may, we think that with the legal income differential that is still being paid by cocoa chocolate companies and all that what is happening on the international market, we strongly believe that Cocoa Board and to some extent the CCC in Côte d'Ivoire can do a lot for farmers by increasing the farm-gate price to the 8.3.
Right. So what happens next if these demands are not met?
That we are demanding.
Obed, what happens if these demands are not met?
Not too long ago, not too long ago, UTAG and other workers went on strike demanding increments in salaries, and they were citing COLA. They were asking for COLA. For cocoa farmers, we can't ask for COLA. All what we can ask for is that the government increase the price. If they don't, we and our members will have a meeting, and then we will take a decision based on what the government announces. We are very sure the government will increase it. For that one, there's no doing it like that. But we are saying that the increment needs to be commensurate with the work that farmers put into producing cocoa. If they don't increase it, we will advise ourselves. I think that's what we can say.
Right, Obed, thank you very much for speaking to us tonight. Erosion has cut the community of Tunsuom in the Mampong municipality of the Ashanti region from the rest of the region. A deep hole has been created in the main road linking the community to the rest of the municipality. Residents have therefore appealed to government to, as a matter of urgency, reconstruct the road to alleviate their sufferings.
The poor nature of the drainage system has destroyed roads which links the community to other areas. The main road in the area has been rendered unmotorable due to erosion. Gullies are also visible on the main road linking Tunsuom and the municipal capital Mampong, as well as other suburbs. Residents say many appeals to get the road fixed have not been heeded to. Education has been affected as students who ply the road daily to school are unable to attend to school anytime it rains.
Nana suku nkura suku aha ensu to ana suku no nkrofo yi amanyina afirimu mumaya kwa ne mayan mumaya hunto ya na no maami bi gwata na tu amna didi kwa ni fie wo wu ye ambulance kura de ne ba ha na antimi ne ba fra broche ne ba ha katapra ana gwi so ba si ni fie kwa na nimu a ansan ye timi di furu na ba
Mampa de se yanka ho esura na wa hunu se ha no mo de wo no mo manyina ha na nka mu fire eti kose ka mo boa ye make kura ke 2 poye ka hwe ekwa na na da hwe soro ho ekwa da hwe ebe fom ye hwe gota pa na da enkura kwa skun kura akatoa ana na da hwe wo so de be si anan ababura be hwe ye eti na ye saw da na ye de nyakopos pa chow.
The Mampong-Tuntum Road links some schools like Unity MA Basic School and St. Joseph Senior High School to the Mampong College of Education campus. Teachers and parents, therefore, are appealing to government as a matter of urgency come to their aid.
Corporate authorities to come to help us, especially when it is affecting students' population. Parents are taking their children out of the school because of the horrible nature of the road. They can't drive their children to school and all that. Especially, they even fear that their child or something may come and fall into this trench, and that's their most horrible fears.
This is a road in the main Mampong town, Tuntum specifically, and this road en route to a basic school there, Unity MA, JHS and primary, and a secondary school, St. Joseph Senior High School here. But because of the poor nature of this road and how the running waters have created gullies and other erosion activities here, it makes it difficult for us who use cars and motorbikes to go to our various working centers.
Well, after the break, Winston Taki will be here with the latest in business. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Newsnight Live on Metro TV. My name is Winston Taki, and now to a first business story. An assistant professor in accounting and financial management at the University of Sheffield, Dr. Sharif Mahmoud Khalid, is doubtful government can secure a deal with the IMF before the 2023 budget is read. With Ghana having started negotiations with the fund, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is however convinced an agreement would be reached before the end of 2023 budget is read.
Ghana's ailing economy has necessitated a move to the IMF to secure policy credibility. Government is therefore accelerating discussions with the International Monetary Fund in order to restore and sustain macroeconomic stability. On Wednesday, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta disclosed negotiations are hinged on 7 major pillars, namely debt sustainability, fiscal consolidation, strengthening monetary and exchange rate policies, building strong financial institutions, macro-critical structural reforms, maintaining peace and security, and economic growth and transformation. He was hopeful a deal will be sealed as soon as possible so that major elements would be represented in the 2023 budget.
And it was very, very clear in terms of the commitment that the fund showed, and she did say that they were determined to reach an agreement by end of the year, and that they've started constructive discussions with us.
An assistant professor in accounting and financial management at the University of Sheffield, Dr. Sharif Mahmoud Khalid, however, disagrees, insisting there are currently no clear indications this plan would be realized.
The minister has not spelled out details of the sort of route and category of debt structure and the sort of style that they are going to go into, right? Likewise, the IMF has not spelled out anything. So it's still at a very early stage. So to talk about debt structure and whether to have it or not, I don't know why that is coming into the fray without proper, information as to what is to be done. So that's my concern here, because I don't know what, it looks like the minister is saying something and saying nothing, actually. If you follow the IMF and the World Bank traditionally in how they engage, it really takes a very long time and before it will get to the board approval.
Now, banking consultant Nana Otuo Echampon has blamed service providers of mobile money platforms for not ensuring due diligence before giving out loans to its customers. He is encouraging them to check the credit worthiness of their customers before approving the loans.
The
Bank of Ghana, in a statement, has warned individuals who have acquired loans through mobile money platforms but have deliberately refused to register their SIM cards with the intention of avoiding repayment of loans to rescind their decision and clear the debt. According to the BOG, failure to pay such loans will attract negative repercussions that could subsequently adversely affect any chance of obtaining loan facilities from other financial institutions and credit providers in future. Nanoto Echampon says the warning is in order.
Well, the caution is in the right order, because I don't think it should be encouraged where people take loan liabilities and then intentionally refuse to pay. However, the problem that the people have is that they've been giving these loans, but without much reference to the credit reference bureaus that Bank of Ghana is talking about. So if in future the bureau's services will be used, then quite a number of people will be kept out of the system.
He later cautioned service providers of mobile money platforms to be cautious and confirm the creditworthiness of its customers before giving out loans.
So I think the amount, unfortunately, some of it will have to be written off by the telcos, because the due diligence that they were supposed to have done before granting didn't happen. All they did was, because you are a phone user, you ask for credit and they give you. So, but it's too late now. The horse has bolted. So, but going forward in future, I think they will not easily grant the loans as they've been doing in the past, but they will make reference to a credit reference bureau to check your credit worthiness before they grant the loans.
Meanwhile, borrowers who have discarded their SIM cards are advised to contact their telcos to discuss payment arrangements.
That'll be all for business here on Newsnight. My name is Winston Taki. Sports is next with Phil John Corti.
It's 47 past 19 hours GMT here in Accra. My name is Phil John Quarter. Let's start straight with international football, because the president of the World Football Governing Body, Gianni Infantino, has indicated the organization of the World Cup in Qatar will enhance welfare of migrant workers on those human rights issue in the Gulf nation.
The transformation that football can bring, and thanks to the spotlights of football as well, many things have changed in Qatar, for example, in terms of workers' rights, of human rights. Things have still to change, but a process has started, and people are much better now than how they were before, right? So it has already brought positive change. And uniting now the world, also after a pandemic where we were all locked down, we were all isolated, bringing again the people from the entire world together, giving excuses or reasons for people to meet, to join, is something that I think is very important in our world.
That was the FIFA President Gianni Infantino talking about human rights and workers' welfare ahead of the Mondial. Meanwhile, the leadership of the Ghana Football Association has decided to put the Ghana Premier League on hold following an injunction by Ash Gold.
Well, it's sad. For once, I thought that we were going to have an incident-free league. Incident-free in the sense that for years and time on end, almost every football season, you have had to deal with a lot of court issues and what have you. And once this season slate began, I was just hoping that we wouldn't have those issues coming back to bite us. But unfortunately, Ashanti Gold served notice of injunction on the GFA. And as a result, the GFA has also put their league on hold. What that means is that finances for all the various clubs are going to be affected. And it's quite difficult paying player salaries, paying staff and all that. Most of the clubs also actually rely on gate proceeds for the day-to-day running of their clubs. So this 2 weeks period, in as much as it's not too long, it will still have a lot of negative impact on our football. So these are issues of law. Once finally the FA has been served, they also would have to respect the orders of the court by halting the Ghana Premier League until the 14th of October, where the issue will be heard in court. And beyond that, we'll get to know whether or not the league will still be on hold or in the wisdom of the court, the league will continue.
If you look at the rate that As Good has filed, it borders on human rights. And if somebody is trampling upon your rights, you have every right under the law to go to court. So now, what I've read of sermons and the relief that they are seeking for, and I realize that it's mainly on fundamental human rights of the club and its directors. They believe that their rights is being trampled upon, and they need to seek for justice, and that is the only place you can go. That's why they are like the High Court, because the High Court is the original. They have the original jurisdiction in terms of dealing with fundamental human rights if somebody is worrying you with your human rights, and that's why they are there. So, we need to give them that benefit of the doubt. After the case, if indeed they go and they do not get what they want, then the FA will also have their own regulations. Then they will know how to deal with them. That is within the regulations that they have. But, for the bigger picture, you can't fight the laws of this land.
Sports pundits and journalists are reacting to the FA's decision to suspend the Ghana Premier League following an injunction by Goldfields, that is Ashanti Gold. Well, that's your sports. Up next, entertainment.
Today is the birthday of High Life legend Charles Kojofosu, popularly known as Daddy Lumba. And as we celebrate him today, some of my colleagues in the newsroom have been singing their favorite Lumba songs. Check this out.
On the 29th of September 1964, that Lumba was born. What better day to celebrate the High Life legend than on his birthday? Today also happens to be a throwback Thursday. So let's throw back to some of his hit songs as fans sing some of their favorite tunes from the legend.
I'm one of Daddy Lumba's fan. I love his music. And then one of his music that I love most was, I don't know how to sing in full, but he said, Medema Samtweradi anymore, Brana Mia Bofrano, we are singing Yemi Mayo, Metu Mania, Nesawai, Menina Bazabazanina, no, Sano Badi anyone meso, dear Menida Sona Misako, that dear Manye Nidao, Tija Jinjin Ja Usu, Neke Hunse, Shafty Party.
My very big happy birthday to the legend Daddy Lumba. His people call him Kojofosu, but Daddy Lumba Nana Nkrofonim. I love most of his songs, especially Bubi Jijo and the other one, Yentiobi Aek. What's the name? How do you sing that? And Yentiobi I make back on. Jamia so jamia me wabanabe. Oreya so jamia me mobo. Kono mukaye yodo so swatchu we. Emanye ne nambeke sewa jimia boso. Oh.
So first of all, let me say a very big happy birthday to the legendary DL, Daddy Lumba. So my favorite song, I have so many favorite songs about him, but one of my favorite songs is, it goes like this. I don't know about the words, but it goes like this. I know in your day. Enka odoro ni payam fuso bebre nanka onsoso.
I'm pleased to wish Daddy Lumba, one of our legends in this country when it comes to high life music, a happy birthday. I love his songs, and my favorite song from Daddy Lumba is Teresa. I don't know whether you know about that song, and let me sing it for you. Say menyuaya, eni enanyiniaye, na say mamedina, na miebeniaye fu. Say menyuaya, eni enanyiniaye. Bunyaya for enemy, this is a mamodina. Teresa, baby, say, Teresa, if anyone to say,
Happy birthday to the legend Charles Kojufosu. Now moving on, rapper COOLIO, best known for his 1995 hit Gangsta Paradise, has died at the age of 59. Now COOLIO's longtime manager Jerez says COOLIO went to the bathroom at his friend's house, but when he didn't come out after a while, the friend kept calling for him and eventually went in and found COOLIO laying on the floor. Real name artist Leon Ivey Jr. COOLIO emerged onto the LA rap scene in the 1980s, but it was Gangsta's Paradise that propelled him to the international fame and earned him a Grammy for Best Solo Rap Performance. The song reached #1 on the US Billboard charts and stayed there for 3 weeks. Tributes have been pouring in from fellow musicians, including Snoop Dogg. Now may he so rest in peace. That's it for entertainment news on Newsnight. My name is Harriet Adiken.
Harriet, but you forgot to ask me about my favorite Daddy Lumba song. I'll tell you behind closed doors. International news is next.
One of the alleged masterminds and financiers of the 1994 Rwandan genocide, Felicien Kabuga, has gone on trial at the UN Tribunal in The Hague. Prosecutors say he aided and abetted hit squads in the slaughter of ethnic Tutsis and used a radio station to incite hatred against them. He was arrested in France's capital, Paris, 2 years ago after evading capture for about 26 years. Mr. Kabuga's lawyers have filed a not guilty plea for him, but he has refused to attend the opening of the trial. Hurricane Ian, which peaked at a Category 4 storm, has brought severe flooding, high winds and storm surges to Florida. The hurricane made landfall on Wednesday near the city of Fort Myers. It is expected to make landfall for a second time on Friday, the U.S. National Hurricane Center says, issuing a warning for the entire coast of South Carolina. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the state is experiencing a 500-year flood event and warns of historic damage. More than 2.5 million Florida homes and businesses have no electricity and cities have been left submerged. One fatality has been confirmed, a 74-year-old man outside of Orlando, Florida. Finland has announced the closure of its borders to Russian tourists from Friday, September 30. The decision comes after the number of Russians arriving at the border surged following a call-up of 300,000 military reservists by President Vladimir Putin. Speaking at a press conference, Finnish Foreign Minister Pekka Haavisto says the mobilization order had a significant